a trophy.
Hello and welcome to another special remote edition of Midlife Krisis. As you can see, my partner on screen is not Max Headroom, although he definitely looks like he's in the position to be that. So if he starts stuttering, it's the inspiration that hit him.
This is Midlife Krisis Imminent Flood Edition.
Yes. So where we live, there is I believe they call it an atmospheric river that is currently flowing over us. And so we decided that Uncle Bob here should probably not drive on his bald tires down to my location here.
I was willing to do it, Brian.
I know.
And you just would have carried the guilt if I careened off into a canyon or something like that.
Well, much like Michael Landis in Highway to Heaven, I feel a certain level of guardianship over you. And sometimes every so often, I need to make decisions that I think impact the both of us for the better. And this would be an example of that. I
always appreciate the references that are only understood by Gen X or older.
Yeah, it's really all that matters. Okay, so first thing before we get into it today, our episode here will be about trophies. Well, mainly trophies, but also we got to bundle in all the other different types of achievements. I might be schooling you on a little bit of a history lesson before I dissect you psychologically, and then you also reveal back to me psychologically why it is you love these things.
Right.
But before we get into that, I need you to do me a favor. You and I have been friends for a long time, so I know that you trust me as a friend, you trust me as a man, and you friend, of course. So what I'm going to ask you to do, and if you could indulge me and not just trust me and not ask a single question here. I need you to go into the chat of the Zoom that we're on, and I need you to read what I've written there methodically and with emphasis, so that something good will happen, something good for you and me. And again, just trust me and do exactly what I say without any sort of questioning. So, if you will.
Okay. All right. Starting from the top. You want me to read it like as if I'm reading a teleprompter?
You know what? I'm going to let you. This is where I want you to sing. I want you to be as creative as you want to be here. Read the words as you think you should, and give me multiple reads if you feel like it. Just go with where the wind blows you on this. All right.
All right. First, I'll read it as if it's a teleprompter, I think. Okay. Here we go. Atari Jaguar. Wow. Oh my God.
Oh,
this game...
Stop. I need space in between those words. So say the word, give me a little pause, maybe like a 1,001.
Brian. You asked me to sing.
You're right. That's I am interrupting the artist, but just give me those pauses. It's important.
Okay. Atari Jaguar. Wow. Oh my God. This game is. Wow. I can't believe what I'm seeing here. Brian, your taste in games is so cool. Brian, this is awesome. Oh my God. This is mind-blowing. Very cool. Very fun.
Great. That's it. That's all I'm going to need from you. And we'll just see what happens with that. Okay.
I'm sure nothing bad will happen with that.
I guarantee you nothing bad. Well, you read the words. You know that nothing is going to put you in any sort of legal predicament.
No legal predicament. Yeah.
Yeah. You'll look really, really cool to like a group of like 13 to 26 people worldwide, that's better than zero as far as I'm concerned. As far as you should be concerned, it's better than zero.
That's true.
Yes. So, okay, with that out of the way, and I do thank you for your cooperation and, again, implicit trust there. Let's get into the meat and the potatoes of why we're here today. Let's talk about trophies vis-a-vis your sickness theretofore. So go ahead and give us a little preamble here about it.
So trophies and being obsessed with them is very healthy for you. It's very healthy for everyone. I think for all of our viewers, you will all lose 10 pounds by just being obsessed with trophies for 6 weeks. Just follow my 6-week course of just doing nothing but get trophies. You'll find every part of your life.
This sounds like a certain golden vitality system of sorts. If I've
it's the
heard
platinum
it before.
vitality system.
Right.
Yeah. So my bit with trophies started as so many aspects of my gaming obsession started with Blizzard back in 2009, 2010. Blizzard implemented achievements, and the second that they were put into World of Warcraft and then eventually StarCraft 2, I was like, oh, I get a thing that I can show off to everybody who looks at my profile that
Yes.
says that I did a thing. Like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. But then there was a period of time for several years when I wasn't playing Blizzard games as much, but I hadn't gotten my PlayStation yet, which I got on launch day in 2020.
Right.
But the millisecond that I got my PlayStation and I saw the first trophy chime in a game, I was like, oh, this is what heaven must sound like. I need more of this in my life. And then especially the first time I got a platinum trophy, which I believe was Astro's Playroom. It may have been the original Spider-Man. And I was like, oh my God, they actually put like a mega trophy next to the other trophies in your profile, and then everybody could see your profile, so
Right.
everyone's going to know how cool I am.
Yeah, it becomes
And then
a wall for you to be a braggart, which is very
definitely.
essential.
So from that moment on, I was trophy obsessed.
Okay.
So that's where this all stems from.
Okay. Well, okay. I'm gonna jump in here just because I've set something up that I want to pitch to you as a bridge. So yes, at times I poke fun at you for spending way too much of your free time on earning achievements, particularly when they're in games that you like actively don't like. But
Heavy rain.
you've done a great job of explaining yourself, not only on this episode but other times too, in terms of like, hey man, like don't judge, don't put daddy in a box. You're gonna do what you're gonna do. But what I've set up here, which I'm not gonna describe to you because I think it's funnier that way, is an example of how you and I are the same. So on the screen, I've spent hours of my life to make what's happening right now happen. And there are maybe 3 people in the entire world that are going to see this and go, wow, that's really cool. So I'm taking something that's obviously retro, and I spent way too much of my free time rigging this up just so that I could do this. And you'll see when this episode is edited.
Oh, I can't see it right now.
Nope, because of the way I set it up, you can't see it right now. And I think that's better. I kind of don't want you to see this until it's like edited and on YouTube, so that I'll get your genuine response on our Discord or something saying
Stay
like,
tuned for the next
wow.
episode or the one after that when I can actually react to the thing that I can't see right now.
Yeah, exactly. And you might be like, wow, that was really cool. Or you'll be like, wow, you're just as broken brained as I am, but in a different category altogether, which is that's just fine. So periodically throughout this episode, what I'm doing right now, I will just kind of pepper this in because it is a little obnoxious. I'll be honest, and I don't want to scare viewers away, but it's here, and it is an example of my psychoses, which is kind of congruent to yours. So that's going to be that. Before you and I jump into a conversation about, my history with trophies and achievements and yours, and kind of go off into the weeds on that. Are you
Can't
aware
wait to hear
of
your history of trophies and achievements, by the way. Looking forward to that.
Yeah. And I'll explain like why I totally jumped off that boat. But are you aware of like the old Activision, the patches, like the Atari patches? Anything about that history there?
No, nothing.
So it's really probably the earliest example of a high score type of a achievement, whatever you want to say, like some kind of accolade. And the way it worked was it was particularly Activision, but I think maybe Atari dabbled in this as well. But again, we're talking like, late 70s, early 80s here. So super duper long time ago, over 40 years. But you would get a high score in, let's say, Pitfall, and you would take a picture with your 35 millimeter crank wheel camera and take a picture of the score on a TV screen, snail mail that bad boy to Activision. And then in 6 to 8 weeks, you would get a patch that you could sew onto whatever you wanted that said like you're a Pitfall high score champion or something like that. And there was a really
This
good.
is the best thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah.
How can I do this? Where do I send?
Yeah.
Who do I mail?
How does it start?
Activision, they're still around.
Yeah, they are. Microsoft has them, and if that sale means anything at all, they're going to bring back the patch incentive from the Activision brand. But yeah, there's a good amount of them. If you try to look them up on eBay, obviously they sell for a ridiculous amount of money because not a lot of people won them. That was kind of the thing, is it was a prestigious thing. But yeah, that's the earliest example of this kind of stuff that I can think of.
That's so funny. People, they're worth money. Like, have you ever heard? I'm sure you've heard stories like those NFL players that like sell their Super Bowl rings because they get destitute or whatever. Selling your Activision "I am a high scorer" patch would be the exact equivalent of that. I would only sell it if I had one of those. If I was really really on my last legs. Otherwise, it would be framed in a case next to my wedding certificate in a drawer.
Is it on top?
Temperature controlled room.
Does it go? Yeah. Does it go wedding certificate and then on top of that, or? I mean, I want to.
Well, actually, that you would want to show off. So that would probably be next to my law degree. Okay. Above my law degree.
Yeah,
in my office.
That's totally reasonable. Clients. Makes a lot of sense to me. I get it.
Guys, yes, I did go to law school, but also, did you see this patch for pole position?
Look at this. Look at what I've done. There is so I've read online that there is a what do you call those? Like a 3D print file of the various trophies, and people do print them and then like kind of honor themselves or give them out as gifts and stuff like that. This definitely is so great. That's definitely something I could see you doing.
Show producer Chris Bear got a 3D printer for Christmas. So please, producer of the show, let's get
he's begging you. He is begging you to 3D print him at least one platinum trophy that says "Platinum Trophy Getter of the Year," and that'll be that.
I actually happen to know for a fact that if you do certain things in the game Destiny 2, you complete a raid or something like that, they allow you to purchase a jacket that's sort of like a status jacket, basically literally a members only jacket to show off that you completed a raid. And it was a pretty strong incentive for me to play that game, but not quite strong enough.
I mean, that is the way it goes. I am surprised that you showed enough restraint to not. So good for you. You're growing. You're maturing.
I'm surprised too.
Okay, so for me with trophies, so obviously we got to wind the clock back to like mid 2000s ish. Achievements, as I recall, achievements came out day and date with the 360. So your gamer score. But I remember no one talking about it initially, and then like all of a sudden out of nowhere, probably around the time that like Halo 3 comes out, so like 2007, all of a sudden like everybody's talking about their gamer score, and like you have examples of like really easy games to get a lot of points that people are gravitating towards, and like sharing tips online of like, here are the easiest games to get a boost in your gamer score. So then trophies became the response, because Xbox achievements, they did get pretty hot, pretty popular. Where are you with those back then to now? Like, do you give a shit about them? And if you don't, why don't you?
So this is the craziest thing, and maybe as my therapist in this episode, you can help walk me through this. I largely do not care about Xbox gamer score or Xbox trophies. When I first because remember, these two consoles came out within 48 hours of each other, and I played them equally, the PlayStation and the Xbox, and I was going for achievements. The very first Xbox game I played was Gears Tactics, and there's a whole bunch of different things you can do in there, and I was trying to get the different trophies, and eventually I just ended up gravitating more towards the PlayStation, and especially gravitated more towards the PlayStation trophies. So in order, I care about PlayStation trophies a lot. I really, really, that actually matters to me. I make buying decisions on games in part based on how easy or hard I think they'll be to platinum. And then Steam achievements matter to me less, but they still matter to me.
Right.
And then Xbox gamer score, Xbox achievements matter almost not at all to me. So it's very funny that you say that Xbox became a big deal first in terms of the trophy race. Because typically when somebody's first to market with a concept like that, they will become the standard bearer. But that's not what happened here. Very clearly, the
Also,
Sony system
Sega
is
says
what matters.
hi on that particular theory of yours.
Oh,
That's kind of the Sega story. Doing everything first and then getting their asses kicked by someone doing it better. Um,
right.
so for me, when so that there was a huge PlayStation operating system update that like had the trophies rolled in, and when it came out, it was the number one thing that they were talking about in terms of the features of this update. And I remember being really excited for it because at that time I didn't have a 360. I just had a Wii and a PS3. Um, I did think of them as like this cool little thing that I would want to get into, and direct also because of the whole like you can share what you have versus your friends. So like that I think that out of the gate for anyone that's like a cool idea, obviously. So when they first started, I can't remember I want to say it was the original Uncharted that I played first to get trophies. And as I was doing it, I kind of looked over at like, another stack of games, and I would kind of jump off of doing it, then come back and forth and all that stuff. And it didn't really grab me until Little Big Planet came out. And I was obsessed with Little Big Planet when it first came out. If you're unfamiliar, I know you played the PS5 one, but
Yeah.
that series used to be like a make your own video game type of a thing. Had really intuitive controls to use with a dual analog, like drawing with a right stick. I got pretty decent at it. So it was a lot of fun. You could build levels, go online, but there's a single player campaign that was also I thought very very fun. And I became obsessed with getting those trophies. And I remember there was one that I had to get until in order to get the platinum. And it was like beat this level over and over and over and over and over again to get it. It was like the final level of the game.
Yeah.
And it
Makes
was
sense.
just like, it took me hours to do it. And when I finally did it and I got that platinum ding, it was
Yeah.
like, oh, wow, I finally did it. And then like
Yes.
2 seconds after that, it was just like, oh God, what have I done?
No, all I'm hearing is like this validates everything
Everything
that
that you've said.
every decision I made in my life. Yeah. Yeah. What a great moment for you, Brian. My love for you has increased like 10%.
Well, let me chip that away a little bit then.
No.
So shortly, like I kind of got hit with the realization that like, it wasn't that fun. What I did wasn't that fun. And what I got out of it was
Right.
that was
Yeah.
like, it was very fleeting, the feeling. So
No,
then
that's the magic.
right, right there's the sauce. But yeah, my interest for it just kind of waned over time. And I think it's partly because, they were around for a really long time. But I think the bigger part is like, as a person, I'm not super duper competitive. I can be here and there, like playing Street Fighter with the right group of people. I get pretty competitive playing digital pinball online with friends. But outside of that, like it's not really my deal. Which you could argue is a defense mechanism for me being not that great at competitive games. But at the end of the day, like that's kind of me. So for you, how much do you weigh like your natural competitive streak with gaining trophies versus like that Pavlovian, like not so competitive as it is like I guess it is if you like you're competing with yourself, I guess maybe. Like break that down. That part of your brain, how does trophies affect you?
Okay, I'm really glad you asked that question because that actually is part of what I was doing when I was doing psychoanalysis on myself last night in preparation for this episode. Why actually is it my competitive streak? Is it something else? And I am a hyper competitive person. However, I don't think it actually has anything to do with that at all. I also, especially as a kid, I was more like OCD.
Right.
And I think there's some leftover OCD stuff there that actually makes me need to get every trophy because they're there to collect. And then
Ah,
here's an interesting thing about this. I need to get the platinum trophy. Okay, I have to do that. However, if after I get the platinum, there's still stuff to do, and sometimes there is. As an example, I just platinumed Prince of Persia, the new Prince of Persia Lost Crown last night, and it felt great.
mm-hmm.
And in fact, I had my son was home, and then he had a friend over, And much like the King of Kong scene when the guy goes around doing there's a kill screen coming up.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I was going around my house and like getting my wife and my kids like, hey guys, there's a platinum trophy coming up.
that's so fantastic.
So I bring everyone around and then it's like, okay, here we go. And then I do the thing and then you get the platinum and I hear the chime and all of a sudden everything is right with the world for the half a second that you hear the sound.
Yeah.
But there is still actually stuff to do in that game. There's still additional collectibles to get. But the second that I heard that, I was like, I don't need to do anything else. Like I've done everything that I need to do.
You just blew my mind. Okay, first of all, not many games do this, obviously. I think the order of operations is the game has whatever content it has. Sometimes there's a little bit of, you beat the game, unlock a thing. Most of the time it's like you beat the game, please give us money for more things. But at any event, like the final thing, the final arbiter of success of a video game is you do whatever you need to do to get all the trophies. So in Prince of Persia, you're saying that there was still more things to do post platinum, but because you got your platinum, you're able to wash your hands of all the other stuff. You need some splaining on that one.
Yeah. So first, if somehow this would never happen, and it has never happened, but if a game allowed you to get a platinum without actually beating the game, that I would have to beat the game. You have to at least beat the game for me to feel like fulfilled. But beating the game and then getting the platinum, that's really all I need. I don't need anything else. So Prince of Persia, there's a number of other collectibles that you have to get that basically reveal lore and story elements. I don't need any of that. I just don't. I beat the game. I got the platinum. I'm done. That's it. If those things were required to get the platinum, I would absolutely go and get them to get the platinum.
Sure.
And then the other part of this though is that oftentimes I'll get a platinum and then a game will come out and they'll release like some DLC and there'll be additional trophies associated with the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
If the DLC is fun, like recently God of War Valhalla, I played that and was that fun. I cannot believe that DLC was free, but it is fantastic. And I got all the new trophies there. But every now and then a trophy, the DLC will come out and it's like, oh, and we've added New Game Plus. So you get a trophy if you beat the game in New Game Plus. If I already got the platinum and I'm just like, hey, see you guys later. I don't need anything else, even though it means that on my precious profile page, it'll show the platinum, but then it'll say 89% or 90% or whatever for the trophies now, because I haven't gotten these additional new trophies that were added to the DLC. The psychology of me says, I've already got the platinum. I've done everything that I need to do here. If the game is fun and the additional trophies are reasonable, then sure, I'll put the effort in.
Right.
But I don't feel the need to play a New Game Plus playthrough of a 60-hour game that I already have a platinum for, just so I can tick my trophy counter back up to 100%.
Okay, but you've definitely done that, right? You've beaten games multiple times in order to get the platinum trophy. That's a part of the process.
Yeah, but that's different. That's getting the platinum trophy.
How is that? Okay, you realize the lunacy here. That's the best part of this. Like you don't like to do what you just described because whatever, I've been there, done that. Unless you give me a picture of a thing, it's less valuable than an NFT essentially. But by doing that, that's what gets you going. That's the way that to keep you going.
And Brian, money is just made out of paper. But yet it's so much more.
Test 1, 2, 3.
What? No. What?
I'm a human.
What? No. But there's no. What?
I like chocolate.
No.
Bye.
What?
Chocolate.
What?
Chocolate.
What?
I like 1, 2, 3.
What?
I like chocolate.
What?
Bye.
No. What?
I'm a human.
What?
Bye.
So let me actually tell you the actual height of this, which is probably my experience with Uncharted 4. Because before, and this is actually, we should birdwalk a little bit on this, but Developers are starting to figure out platinum trophies a little bit better than what they did earlier on.
Yeah.
Earlier on, they were a lot harder to get than they are now. And particularly Sony's first party developers are making it so that you still have to put some real work in to get a platinum. But things like missable trophies that require a second playthrough, or trophies that you have to, you can only get in the multiplayer mode. Those are largely going the way of the dodo in a way that that gamers are really, really happy with. Nobody wants to have to do multiplayer to get certain trophies.
The multiplayer trophies like that, when they started doing that in games, that is it kind of lines up when I started to lose interest in trophy, whatever interest that I had in trophies went away, because like a lot of those games, I don't play a lot of multiplayer. I didn't play a lot of multiplayer. Like some games hook me, but by and large, it's not my deal. So then and there, I know like I'm never going to get the platinum. So like I'll just go ahead and move on with my life and play other games instead of spend hours of my time doing that stuff. So go ahead. All
right, so let me describe to you the hellish trinity of trophy getting. The first one is multiplayer trophies, which you just described. Nobody likes that. The second one is so-called missable trophies, where if you miss a moment to get a trophy during a playthrough, you have to replay the entire game to get that trophy. A lot of quick time games like the Man of Medan series, things like that, Heavy Rain.
Oh yeah.
Those are they're all a part of that. And then the third one, actually, there's four, so I call it a hellish trinity. It's really a quadrilogy.
Let me pop in here real quick on this, because you just reminded me of an experience. I can pinpoint exactly when I was like, I am all the way done with trophies, and it was a bad PS3's fault. So I was playing through Yakuza 4. As you well know, I love that series. The new one that's out is supposedly the best one they've ever done. I haven't gotten it yet, but I plan on it as soon as I clear out some of my backlog. But I had done those games to get a platinum in one of those Yakuza games. It's a lot of work. And a friend of mine got one on Yakuza 3, and I would see that on the friend list and be like, Gert! So when Yakuza 4 came out, I made the decision that I'm going to do this. And it's one of those games where you beat it on normal, that's a trophy. Go back and beat it on hard, that's a trophy. Beat it again, and this is like 60 hours a pop. Now I love these games, and there's so much side mission stuff to do that like it's an even trade for me to like continue to play this game, because I'm way into it. But what happened was I got everything done. The last trophy I needed to do was to beat it on the hardest difficulty. So it's like, okay, now I have to commit another 50, 60 hours to do this. But like you're able to like keep your items and keep your stats and all that stuff. So it's a harder difficulty, but like you have somewhat of an advantage when you start it. My first PS3, the 60 gigabyte launch model, got the blinking yellow light of death, which was a problem, not like the red ring of death, but a problem nonetheless. And that was it. I lost everything. I didn't have anything backed up. And so the amount of time I put into that and walking away without that platinum trophy was enough for me to never care about that shit ever again, because it was just all gone. So I posit this to you, and then you can continue with your thought. What are you going to do if all this stuff somehow goes away? Like, I know now with PSN and all that stuff, you've got cloud saves, and like the likelihood of it going away, very, very slim. But, in an era where eShops are being turned off, multiplayer compatibility with older systems are being turned off, it's not outside of the realm of impossibility that one day, like, trophies aren't as cared about as they are. You'll probably be like deep in your 60s when this happens, or if this happens. But if this all goes away, what happens? How do you feel about that, or just the idea of that?
Okay, so I'm going to take a picture of my trophy screen before it all goes away, of all the platinum trophies. I'm going to include it in my will, and then those pictures will be given to my firstborn son, and it'll be a requirement before any inheritance can be given that he has to show off and brag about my trophy score to future generations of bears out there.
This is
that's my plan. I don't know what your plan is.
This is the most reasonable thing I've ever heard you say. And that comes from an archive, a library of reasonable things. So I commend you, sir.
Clearly, I put a lot of thought. I actually, the possibility, I'm not so worried about PSN going away. I am worried that my son could be playing Fortnite, think it's really cool to get some cheats or something like that, and then my account gets banned because of his shenanigans. I'm that's sort of a reasonable fear, and he may have to go live with you for a while if that happens
I
because I'm
didn't
not
even
sure.
I didn't even think of that.
That's the realistic scenario,
You
and
could easily
he is
create.
on notice.
Yeah, you could easily create an account for him. You are aware of that, right?
Well, he has his own account, but it's not online. I've disabled online features of his account, but I do allow him to play Fortnite. So,
So what are we doing here? Just give him online privileges with the parental controls, and then you won't have to worry about this.
well, maybe that is the next step, and then
Yeah,
he'll get his own
that's
account banned.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're willing to make him read publicly in your last will and testament in order to get access to a trust. I think you can do this. I think you can do this.
I look forward to like whoever the administrator of my estate is standing at a really long oak table and like a dusty, law book filled conference room and just reading off. He got the platinum trophy in Heavy Rain. He got the platinum trophy in Uncharted 4. He got the platinum trophy in Returnal over and over again, and everybody pretending to be impressed with that.
Golf
so that they could
claps.
get their
Everyone's just like
inheritance.
for everyone.
Golf claps. Can we get our inheritance now?
Absolutely.
Okay, so what I was explaining is what no gamer wants to see in terms of trophy acquisition. And I had said that number one was multiplayer trophies. That sucks to see those. Number two is missable trophies. It's awful when you have to play a game a second time to get a missable trophy.
Yeah.
Number three are trophies related to difficulty, and I'm going to tell an Uncharted story in a second. And but that's the third thing. Nobody wants it so to have to either beat a game multiple times on various difficulties, or to have to beat the game on the hardest difficulty to get the trophy. And then number four, it's really a holy quadrilogy, would be trophies for multiple endings, which is basically just like having to play the game multiple times. And all of the David Cage games are like this, where it's like, oh, you got to see every single ending to get the final trophy that you need to get the platinum. It's like, oh, so I got to play this freaking game like
Over
10
and
different
over,
times.
yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those four things, and I wasn't joking earlier when I said that some of my buying decisions on games relate to how easy or difficult the trophies are to get. And
I
if
would
see
never
that there's
accuse you of joking about this. You are serious as a heart attack about this stuff.
There is a heart attack is right. So if I see that a game is a very difficult platinum or that there's missable trophies, it's really a soup of things. I mean, price also matters. I've got a really good computer, so the graphics, that matters too. But trophies is part of the soup. And it's like, okay, am I going to make a commitment here to buying this game on PlayStation? If the answer is yes, then I need to know that I'm going to be able to platinum it at some point. So that's definitely a part of it.
Okay, well then I think a natural segue, because one of the main questions I wanted to ask you and kind of discuss is this idea of trophy pump uppery, I'll call it. So there are games, and since the beginning of trophies, there's been games. A real famous one is the Hannah Montana PS3 game, where if you put that on and leave it on for like 15 minutes, you'll get a platinum trophy. Like that's just how it goes. Where are you on that stuff? Like
I'm out on that.
You're out on that. So for you, you have to earn them.
You do, and because the whole point of bragging about the trophy is that and we'll get, by the way, to how much other people care about this, which is zero. But in the psychosis of my head, it's like a trophy is a status symbol, and nobody cares that you got a trophy in a game that it took you 15 minutes that nobody else has heard of or played. So the quantity of the platinum trophies,
yeah, I
understand that it helps pump up the Sony version of your gamer score, your gamer level, whatever it is. But I like to think that the trophies that I'm getting, the platinum trophies that I'm getting, are for known games, the AAA games. It's either Sony first party or high level third party games, and games that when people look at it, it's like, okay, so he did all the things in that game.
So okay, what you just said struck a chord with me, because I have I think maybe 10 to 15 platinum trophies, I think. So not many, nowhere near the amount that you have, obviously. But of those, the ones that I do care about are these obscure games that I love, that I'm proud of having those trophies of. For example, I've talked on this show many times about my affinity for Deadly Premonition. So I got the platinum in Deadly Premonition, the director's cut, and that means a lot to me. The fact that I did that, and I can see that, and that's an obscure ass game. So like, but the same reason that you just said is like the same reason for me. Like I want people to know that I spent the time in that game.
Yeah. So in your case, it's not padding though. You're not playing the game to just be like, oh, 15 minutes, I get another plat. Like that sounds good to me. You genuinely love the game and you want the whatever the status is associated with it. So that's different than what you see online with a lot of profiles, which is people just seeking out games that they can get platinums in 5 or 10 minutes by just playing some kind of trashware game.
Yeah.
And then just using that to pad their score. That is definitely not what I'm doing. I care about, just like your Precious Moments dolls on the shelf behind you.
Absolutely.
I care about all of my babies. Every platinum trophy is a baby to me.
You've put that in such a perfect perspective for me to really understand. As we wind down here on this talk, give me some examples of your all-time favorite trophies that when you got them, and I'm assuming these are all platinums, but if there's not, speak up. But like trophies that you got that might have been like particularly hard to earn, like things that you care about the most, and then give me like an approximation of time for some of those. Like how much time did these games take to earn this stuff?
I'll give you 3. One is Heavy Rain, because that game required multiple playthroughs. It's one of the worst games. Please, everyone watching, go see our episode on how much I hate Heavy Rain. One of the worst games I've ever played, one of the most overrated games I've ever played. And yet I went all the way through. I believe it was about 60 hours, got the platinum in that. And it was COVID days. It was not, I didn't have much else going on.
We were all confused. We all handled that situation in a different way.
I'd like to be able to say that, but honestly, I probably would have done it anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, you know your body.
So that one I'm proud of just because I hated it so much and I was able to persevere anyway.
Yeah.
The second one would be Uncharted 4, because that game, like all the Naughty Dog games, and by the way, I platinumed every Uncharted game, but Uncharted 4 requires multiple playthroughs. You have to beat the game, and then you have to do a speed, or you have to beat the game on the hardest difficulty,
right?
Which is hard enough. Then if you manage to get through that, you have to do a speed run. Thank God difficulty doesn't matter there, but you have to beat the game in under 2 hours. And the first time I did it, I was not able to do it under 2 hours.
Right.
So I had to play it, what was in effect a third time to get it. That platinum, I think it's like 0.4%, 0.6%, something like that. It's certainly less than 1%. And then the third one is Returnal, which is a roguelike. And those are particularly difficult because
and Returnal by itself is a pretty challenging game. Like it is just by itself. Yeah.
Yeah. And Returnal is the opposite of Heavy Rain. I love that game. It was my personal game of the year for 2021. It is just freaking fantastic. And but getting the platinum sucked because the last trophy you need depends on a certain room, a certain item that's randomly generated appearing in a certain room. And I had to play several hours just waiting for the randomization to kick in to get that item. And that was definitely not fun. So those 3, I think, matter. The Horizon games, I put over 100 hours into both of those to get the platinum. Yep. So that's 200 hours between the 2 games. So that one matters to me a little bit as well. But that's just a quantity of time. I got all the time in the world. So
naturally.
Keep going with this.
Well, I mean, I have publicly accused you of foolishness in the past for prioritizing trophies over beating up dragons and turning their skin into boots.
Hey, let me say, you're not the only one, by the way, because
the
part of the psychology of this is like, I'm getting these trophies to kind of, for like status, like to brag basically about like, look how good of a gamer I am. And literally everybody on my friends list and everybody that I know in my life, including you, family members, other gamer friends, nobody cares at all. Everyone, your opinion is by far the majority opinion. So I'm not here like really sort of touting this as like it's a Super Bowl ring or something.
It's indefensible. Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Imagine winning the Super Bowl and you're like, "Hey guys, check out the Super Bowl ring that I got," and everyone's like, "Nobody cares. Nobody."
Well,
It's like maybe like winning like the
Super Bowl
Hacky
is a little
Sack World
different.
Championship.
Super Bowl is a little different than you getting a bunch of PlayStation trophies. But I do
It's not,
appreciate
Brian. I don't know.
the notion.
It's not different.
No,
No,
okay,
it's the
all
same.
right.
It's the same thing.
We're gonna go ahead and
it's the
triple
same
down
thing.
on that. Got it.
Right. So me and Travis Kelce are the exact same. In fact, the only thing that is different between us is that he's dating Taylor Swift right now and I'm not. That's
Right.
the only thing. Otherwise, the fact that he's won a Super Bowl,
Yeah.
the fact that I
But it's
have
a
got
psyop.
platinum trophies,
It's a psyop, brother. They're not actually dating. They're out there. They're trying to change. They're trying to change the global world in front of us.
those stories. I've gotten a lot of entertainment value. Those
Yeah,
stories,
we all
the
have.
last week
We
or
all
so.
have.
Yeah.
We all have.
So one other thing, there's this guy named Asmongold, who's kind of a famous streamer.
Uh-huh.
And he does he was a huge WoW player for a long time, and he got every single every achievement that you could get in World of Warcraft at a time when like that was really super difficult to do. And he lived at home by himself with his mother, and he's exactly what you would think of like a basement dwelling,
Uh-huh.
like loser basically. Now he's a millionaire because it turns out if you're good at something that a whole bunch of people are interested in, you can actually make
Yeah.
money doing that. Being a
If you
streamer.
build it,
But
they will come. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but in the process of him building it, he was just a loser. When I saw him get the last achievement, or I saw his achievement score, I was like, man, I think I made a mistake falling in love and like getting married and going to college and like, having children. You know who's got it figured out? This guy's got it all figured out. He
And
knows
so does
exactly
Rick
what he's
Stetta.
doing in life.
Rick Stetta, world famous pinball player.
Yes.
He has no time. No time for family. No time for love. Only time for pinball and interpretive dance. Period.
Right. So I was thinking, yeah, I need to reassess the priorities of my life.
Yeah.
I gotta get some things figured out. So
You're a smart man.
anyway, that was my model for a long time. But I'm just gonna keep going with this, Brian. I will continue to get platinum trophies. I will continue to send them to you to ignore through our PlayStation chat.
that is something I do enjoy. Seeing those messages. Look what I did. And then
Yeah.
silence.
click delete.
Well, friend, now that we've exposed our business as enemies instead of longtime friends, probably a good time to do a gentleman's handshake digitally.
Wow.
Housekeeping. We're on Spotify. Go ahead, join us over there. Give us a 5-star review. Like and subscribe here on the YouTube channel. Tell a friend about us if you think that they would enjoy us. And am I forgetting anything, Uncle Bob?
If you're into trophies, subscribe to our channel, and I will bring this topic up every single time I get a platinum trophy, which is about once a month or so.
There are other sickos like you out there, so they can come. Our doors open to them. Absolutely. All right, so I'm gonna swap over to mystery camera here, and I'm gonna bring you right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and reach my hand out to your hand here, and we're doing a gentleman's handshake from the past to the future.
Is that working?
There you go. That's it. I guess that's it. Yeah.